This is John Loughran Views Your Profile. This episode's guest is director of multiple specialties at Wolters Kluwer and new AMM president, Eileen Henry. Sorry about that. Kind of thought "Come On, Eileen" would be a good intro for Eileen Henry. Anyway, happy 2021, everyone. Thank God that dumpster fire called 2020 is over. For me personally, 2020 ended with a bang. Literally, the glass table on my deck exploded during a storm. I heard the glass break and thought Stone Cold Steve Austin was coming to kick my ass. Luckily, it was just my table in a million pieces. But I hope everybody had a lovely holiday season. After 11 consecutive days of house arrest with 3 tough cellmates, as I call it, couldn't be happier to be back to work. What a change it was from when I was in my 20s. Holiday breaks then couldn't be long enough and were so much fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my kids, but 264 consecutive hours of screaming and fighting and touching and breaking, and I'm bored, and what are we doing? And they even slapped me. It's enough for a brother to want a couple RFPs to work on, you know what I mean? Seriously, they were 2 feet away from me fighting over slime as I tried to write this stupid bit. So if this opening is horrible, it's because I was a bit distracted. But we did find a couple things to do over the break to keep ourselves occupied. Thanks to JLVYP superfan Reese Robinson of Skipta for a couple fun craft-related ideas that occupied about 3 of those 264 hours. We did manage to take a day trip to the Poconos to go snow tubing, which was a 2-hour drive each way, sandwiching 3 hours of cold standing in line interspersed with 7 30-second bursts of fun flying down the slopes. But it was pretty cool. I also got to build a new entertainment center, do some handyman work for my in-laws, and drink about 96 beers over the break. So it was time well spent. But I'm happy that it's finally 2021. All my football teams, the Philadelphia Eagles and Penn State Nittany Lions, had very 2020 seasons, which are mercifully now over. It's now process time for my Philadelphia 76ers, who are actually off to a good start, and my fingers are crossed that maybe sometime this year I'll get to cash in my 40th birthday present. These March 24th, 2020 Flyers tickets, although who knows, PA seems to be ultra shut-downy with everything, so I don't see indoor sporting events being a thing anytime soon. But it's something to look forward to at least. And that's my motto for 2021, looking forward. Here's wishing everyone a much better year than last. I look forward to getting to see people at some point, putting on pants that require a belt, and nailing all those New Year's resolutions. I just reintroduced myself to the Peloton bike, who basically said, "Where the F have you been for all these months?" Hey, quick note before we get started with our guest. The AMM is always looking for new volunteers for their committees, so if you're interested, let somebody know. Okay, it's going to be a great year, God willing, and a great episode with my guest, and Eileen Henry, a consistent kick-butt rep who has a wealth of experience across numerous therapeutic categories. I hope it's okay that I call you a kick-butt rep. As
that's fine. Call me whatever you want to call me.
Also takes over as new AMM president for 2021.
I do. Yeah, I'm excited by it.
Yes, yes, we're all excited. And I'm excited to chat with you about your career and your goals for AMM. So welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year. I guess you're still in that point. I don't know how long.
First couple weeks.
Yeah. I figured once it hits February, I think you stop saying Happy New Year and then you start saying
exactly
Happy Valentine's Day. I don't know.
Whatever. Anything goes now in this day and age. It doesn't matter.
Tell me about it. I know. Speaking of New Year, were you able to do anything like to celebrate or?
No, it was probably my most low-key New Year's. Literally went out to eat at the local Asbury Park restaurant, had a really nice dinner, and was home by 10 p.m. because everything shuts down so early. But it was actually nice. I mean, usually you're out until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Eve, and this was much more low-key kind of a night. I actually fell asleep before the ball came down, so it shows I'm getting old.
Jeez, now it's so when you do they have indoor eating? I mean, you didn't sit outside and eat on New Year's Eve, did you?
No, 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 no. So in New Jersey, we do have indoor dining, but it's at about 25% capacity. So, and it's pretty sectioned off how they do it. So I feel pretty comfortable about it. So, but it was
Gotcha.
nice. It's nice just to get it. I don't do it all that often, but just to do it once in a blue moon, it's nice.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Did it affect, like did all the pandemic stuff affect the rest of your holidays? Or I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I come from a huge family. I don't know if you remember, I'm like one of 8 kids, and so basically my immediate, and then their offsprings, and aunts and uncles, and my grandfather who's turning 92. It's about 50 of us on an average, family get together. So I think I had about 7 people over for Christmas, and it was just my kids and their significant others, and that was it. So.
wow.
Yeah, it was just pretty low key, which it was actually kind of nice. You're usually always running here, there, and everywhere, and hitting like 3 houses on the same day, and it kind of was nice to be a little more relaxing. So,
Yeah, I used to have the most insane before the last couple years we've kind of set it where, we know that this holiday is going to be with this family member, this holiday is going to be with that. I used to, when I was in college and early after, I used to try to hit 5 different places on holidays, and it was the most insane thing ever.
yeah, because you feel
But
guilty if you don't hit everybody.
yeah, now it's like my dad's just like, look, I know you're going to do this holiday with your wife's family, we'll make this one ours. So it's
Yeah,
it
it
just
makes it
makes
a
it,
lot easier.
yeah, but we had 11 days of the kids. My kids are 9 and 7, and they were
Mm.
home from school on holiday break, and
Hmm.
there wasn't much to do. We were dab smack in the middle of like a Pennsylvania mandate where there was no indoor dining.
All right.
Things
Mm-hmm.
were shut down. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
gee, thank you for that. So we had to kind of fill 11 days of stuff. It
It's
was
tough,
challenging,
especially
but
when it's so cold outside. It's not a whole lot you can do outside with them either.
exactly.
Yeah.
So and I would have normally I hate. I mean, I like one good snow a year,
Hmm.
but I would have welcomed it because at least we could have went outside and went sledding or something. But there was no
Exactly.
snow. It was just freezing cold. We
Hmm.
did we did go snow tubing one day, which was nice.
There you go. There you go.
But
Yeah, I'm not one for the cold. I'm not a fan of it. Even my dogs are not a fan of it. They look at me like, no, I'm not going out there.
yeah, you know what? I used to be like, oh, I love living in, and it's funny, my 9-year-old is studying right now the northeast region of the country. So it talks about the 4 seasons and all this stuff. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to be like, yeah, it's so great, but now I'm totally over it. I wish it was just nice
Yeah,
12 months a year.
yeah,
I'm,
I completely agree. I'm on board. That,
I think I'm ready to move to San Diego or Florida or something, or
yeah, I'm thinking about that snowbird thing. Definitely
yeah.
thinking about
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm jealous. I have a good friend who does the snowbird thing, and it's
Hmm.
goes down to Florida for 6 months, and it's always nice. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I,
Um, so let me ask you. So I know where you're at now.
mhm.
Where did you grow up? Because I know you went to Drexel. I've seen that you've taken
Mhm.
some on your profile. You've got a whole list of professional courses that you took across
Mhm.
Jersey, and even one at Bucks County Community College in Newtown,
Yeah,
PA.
I've been all over the place. So I lived all over the Northeast. So I was a pharma brat growing up. So not an army brat, but a pharma brat. So my dad was a product manager at many of the pharmaceutical companies, and either he was being bought out or they were buying a new company. So he was always changing jobs. So everywhere from the Boston area to, the Philly area, Jersey, of course, even up in Rochester, New York. I actually lived for a little while too.
Wow.
So all over, even Connecticut, and but most of my life now I've lived in New Jersey, and so I'm now officially a Jersey girl.
I think
But
I think Rochester, New York is still where from about 8 years ago, I have a bag that got lost. I was going to the Mayo Clinic for work in Rochester, Minnesota. My bag
okay.
went to Rochester, New York, and was never recovered. So I have
Eh,
a
they're
every
very
time
similar, I guess.
every time I hear Rochester, New York, I
You
cringe a little.
cringe.
Yeah, I lost my good shoes, my good pants.
Mm.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, but no, so I now live in Monmouth County, New Jersey. I live basically 2, 3 blocks from the beach. I live in a little teeny tiny town called Ocean Grove. It's adjacent to Asbury Park, if you're familiar with the Jersey Shore at all. But I literally just moved here a few months ago. I'm doing a winter rental because I sold my house in 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah, with the pandemic, everyone was like anxious to get out of like the big cities. And I lived about 17 years in Middletown, New Jersey, and sold it 2 days and had to find a place instead of being rushed into buying another house. I figured, oh, let me take my time. So I'm doing a nice winter rental, 2.5 blocks from the beach. And it's just me and my dogs and my son some of the time. And my daughter actually lives 5 blocks away, so she couldn't go that far from me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. 2 days. I mean, God, that can be stressful selling a place. I've been there, and
Yeah.
I've never had the 2 day turnaround, but that's great. I
Yeah,
mean,
you know what? I think I had a lot of work to get done on my house, and if it wasn't for the pandemic and being basically grounded and not being able to fly anywhere, I would never have been able to get my house up and on the market. And since the market was so good, I said, oh, why not? I'll do it. It wasn't,
wow.
like you said, I wasn't expecting it to turn around in 2 days, so it was a good problem to have.
First person I've talked to who has good experiences from 2020. So congratulations. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah, I got to look at the positives. There's a lot of negatives, but I got to look at the positives. So.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, that's a really good outlook to have.
Mhm.
So I had mentioned some of the professional courses that you have listed
Mhm.
on your profile, and like I said, I know you went to Drexel. It's a
Mhm.
good Philly school.
Mhm.
So
Of course,
so
Philly, right?
yeah, yep. So for future reps watching this, what would you say was the most useful professional course that you took outside of college? But some of these
Right.
other courses that you took. Was it the one
So,
on Quark?
no.
I didn't-
No. I definitely would say, so I went to school for engineering, and so obviously a very different path and different field that we are in right now. And I definitely would say the medical terminology class was hands down one of the most important ones that I took. It really helped me be able to talk the talk with the product managers and even KOLs, so I didn't feel inadequate in talking to them. But sorry, that's my dog
No
barking in the
problem.
background.
Mine will probably bark back. She,
Yeah, he's jealous because I have the door shut, and usually he's in here with me, but I shut the door on him.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think the medical terminology class was really, really helpful. Just really helped me understand the basic fundamentals of medicine.
yep,
And then I would even say the old-fashioned Dale Carnegie class. I know
yep,
that kind of sounds whatever, but it really helped you strategize how to talk about different scenarios with your clients, whether they're challenges and you're getting a lot of no's, and how to overcome some of those no's, and how to actually talk to them instead of being that blunt, abrasive New York you know um, attitude that I had years ago, maybe not as much anymore. But it just helps you talk things a little bit more smoothly. And so I would say of the two, I think those two would probably be the most valuable for any new rep coming into this field.
yeah. I agree. I think the medical terminology one, I kind of had to learn it as I went, and I spent a lot of time sitting in meetings just letting the other person talk and going, mm-hmm. Obviously, I know what you're talking about. Sure.
Sounds interesting, but
Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. Over the course of about 20 years, yeah, I think I've gotten it, but it would have been
Mhm.
nice to take a course to kind of get up to speed.
Mhm.
So I mentioned earlier that you have this great experience across numerous specialties and therapeutic categories. It's plug time. Why don't you? What do you work on these days?
So as you're aware, I work at Walters Clore,
Yes.
and I oversee the neurology portfolio, which is the American Academy of Neurology.
Nice.
I oversee the cardiology and stroke portfolios, which is the American Heart Association and Stroke. There's also urology, which is the American Urology Association. There's also wound care, Oncology is a big one. That's not a society-related portfolio, which is kind of different from working on society versus non-society.
Sure.
But yeah, so definitely a lot of different areas. And we've kind of, even though we're still print, we've gotten a lot more digital oriented, doing a lot more, I would say, resource center programs, customized, targeted programs. We're getting further and further away from the print and being more focused on digital these days. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I guess this is a tough question to answer, but I mean, I've over my years worked in kind of both as well on some society stuff and non-society. Both bring benefits and challenges.
Mhm.
What do you think's more challenging, society or non-society?
I think they both give you a lot of challenges, like you said. With the societies, you have a certain level that you have to uphold. You can't just publish, an advertorial-like type of
Yep.
content. It has to be truly, especially our peer-reviewed journals, it's peer-reviewed content, it's research. So there is a certain level, a certain bar that you need to keep everything at. But there's a lot more restrictions. There's a lot more, red tape that you have to go through from an advertising perspective.
Yep.
So I definitely, there's definitely challenges in there. And then of course the non-society, well, there's pluses and minuses to that too. I mean, if you don't have the society to back you, but you have a lot more flexibility, a lot
Sure.
more that you can do. I've definitely seen a huge growth on our oncology portfolio because we don't have the societies. We're basically at a 50-50 split between print and digital on that portfolio, which is pretty big, compared to just a couple of years ago. It might have been about 80-20. And that just goes in line with, there's a lot more you can do. There's a lot more flexibility. And also from a timing perspective, if you think of a concept and you're working with a client to get a program out, it doesn't take, 3 to 6 months to get it vetted through the society and to get it approved. You vet it through the editorial board, but it might take, a month, if that, to get it off the ground and published or released. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. It's great to get that kind of perspective from somebody who works across both and, kind of see what are some of the challenges that everybody faces. Speaking of challenges and clients, obviously the last 10 months or so has been challenging, especially, there's hardly anybody's going into offices. And if they are, we're not really allowed to go in and see them like we used to. So how has it impacted the way that you communicate with clients or try to, get FaceTime or any time with them?
Yeah, it definitely has been really challenging. I know, it depends upon the client. So, I have a great set of reps that work directly with the agencies, and they reach out to them and work with those clients directly. But it's hard. You're not going to the conferences. You don't have face-to-face interaction. There are, the virtual meetings, but they're not the same. It's very hard to get in touch with a client. I reach out to my pharma clients just to say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Are you holding up with everything? Is there anything I can do for you? Just keeping that line of communication just open. Some of my reps have done some fun things like a paint and wine night. So we can always use a nice little thing like that. Or, AMM did the trivia night. That was fun. I know one of my reps was saying she was getting so almost filled with anxiety. It was stressful trying to get the answers right, but it was fun. A good anxiety, not a bad one.
Yeah.
But it is challenging. But you just kind of keep pushing forward, just saying, hey, we're all human, and everyone's going through the same situation as well. They're not going to their ad board meetings, with their KOLs. I actually even reach out to some of the KOLs as well, just to say, hey, how you doing? Send them a text and say, wish we were all together in Scottsdale at the AHS meeting or something like that. But you just kind of have to keep pushing through it, because we're all going through a challenging time, and just keep top of mind. It's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I have something coming up that's usually towards the end of January every year. It's a big annual meeting that our company has, and it's all our business units, and we have 3 days of meetings, and sprinkle in a little bit of fun at night.
A lot of fun.
And, yeah, exactly. And obviously, we're not doing that this year. It's going to be all virtual, and it's it is what it is. But like you said, everybody is in the same boat, and it's just interesting to hear. You mentioned the paint and sip wine, or sip or chug, whatever. To each their own.
Chug it down.
Yeah. Now I like to ask people what kind of creative things they've been able to do to get time with people, because it's definitely a unprecedented era in time like none other. But
and the other thing too is just again, we're all going through the same thing. Is when you're having a call with a client, try to do it with a video call instead of just looking at a blank screen. That way you're kind of interacting with them, and they're not also half doing their emails on the other screen or something like that. It's just another way to keep them top of mind, seeing your face in there. And I was talking to Lisa Healy, and she was just saying, it's just so important to make sure you have that video on. Just to see people, that's all.
Yeah, I don't like looking at their initials and just, I have a funny story. I did kind of like a little happy hour with somebody that I'm pretty good friends with, and she has glasses, and I could tell that she was multitasking, because all of a sudden, like, the screen lit up in her glasses, and I was like, okay, no, go ahead, go check your emails by all means. She got like mortified. She's like, what? And I'm like, I can see in your glasses. But she's like, oh, thank you. That's a good tip for the future. I think I'll wear contact lenses.
At least you're honest. At least you're straightforward with her.
I was just busting her chops, but it was funny. Okay, so what I really am excited to talk about is the fact that you are the new incoming president of AMM. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is awesome. Hank did a great job in a very
crazy year. Absolutely crazy.
Very crazy year.
Yeah.
Have you done your first official act as president yet?
You know what? I've been involved with behind the scenes with some of it, just appointing some of the different committee member heads. They're already kind of in place anyway, just to give them, just check it off and say, yep, let's go forward with that. I know we've been working with different groups, like I know John Bigelow, we're working with his organization to basically partner AMM and allowing AMM members to have access to his meetings. So that was kind of a new initiative that is being rolled out for this year. And basically we're just trying to, figure out ways to engage, because, I'm sure the first half of this year, we're still going to be virtual for everything. And who knows what the second half of the year is going to be. I'm remaining cautiously optimistic that, we're going to be starting to see people face to face in the second half, but as well as I do that that's impossible to predict at this time. But and we're trying to push forward with Nexus and the bowling event. So Nexus we're pushing it later. So maybe it could be, a virtual, a live event. But again, we don't know. But we'll see. So we're playing with some dates and times and see how we're gonna roll those out this year.
Yeah. I thought I heard something about potentially June for Nexus.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we're looking at, because again, some of the companies' restrictions are going to be let up a little bit by June. I know, Walter's Clore, for example, we're allowed to I guess start getting out there in June. June what? I'm not sure, but June's the magic month.
Wow.
So we're kind of grounded. We're not allowed to see anybody, which I know is I know Hank was saying Elsevier is the same way, and a number of the other companies too. I was talking to some of my pharma companies, and they too. I mean, some of them were saying they're not allowed to go anywhere, see their KOLs until June.
Wow.
So so we're all in the same boat, like I said, and we're trying to do the best we can.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting. So as the new president, do you have any, other than getting us all in person with each other at some point, which may or may not be slightly out of your hands, Do you have
Mhm.
any specific goals for the AMM for the year?
Just kind of like I was saying before, is just really to get us all together, whether it's virtually or live. I mean, together is just either way that I'm looking at it, and just to engage more. Having the John Bigelow group, having access to them, engaging with them. I know there's been the interviews with Jason, forgetting his last name.
Barris.
Yes, yeah, he's doing those interviews, and it's just another perspective. It's more, healthcare on the Hill, and seeing how it affects us, pharma pricing and all that fun stuff. So it gives us a different perspective on that, and then just really just how can we continuously engage. I mean, last year we kind of were like in a state of limbo. We're all kind of waiting to see what's the next step, and well, we kind of already know what's going to happen the first half of the year, so let's move with it and have our meetings. They're going to be virtual, but just make them a little bit more engaging than they were before.
Yeah. Well, I think you did a good job of answering many of my questions in one shot there. Because I was going to ask, I want to use this platform as an opportunity to plug more things for AMM. And you mentioned the John Bigelow Fun Hour, the AMM conversations. Is there any other content that you can think of that is underutilized that people aren't aware of or checking out?
There's the and I'm blanking out the term. Is that horrible right now? Is the facts, the AMM
Oh,
facts,
yeah.
which it's horrible that I'm forgetting at it, but as you can tell, I don't have anything in front of me. I don't have a screen up, so
Yeah.
I'm literally doing this off the cuff.
Spontaneous conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good like fact sheet, especially for new reps who are not as familiar with the pharma advertising, medical device advertising world. So it's just some good tidbits and points, whether it's for digital or print or everything in between. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
Well, this has been great. I mean, I have these conversations and I look down and I'm like, oh my gosh, this has been almost a half hour of great conversation. Before I let you go, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to say or
Talk about with regards to AMM or just in general?
Just in general. Why not?
No, I think we all have to, go forward with a really positive note this year. We know what it's going to be. It's going to be another challenging year, but I think we're all in it together, and we've got a new leadership for this country, whether that's good or bad or indifferent. But I'm looking forward to a change and moving forward with a new and better year, hopefully. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, I guess.
Yes.
I wouldn't say us, but there's no us. It's just me. But I just definitely wanted to say best wishes for, career-wise in 2021, a successful year, also with AMM. And fingers crossed, hopefully I will get to see you and everybody else in June.
I know. I hope so. I hope.
I'll get my tuxedo pressed,
Okay.
I'm doing a grassroots campaign here to try to win that thing, but we'll see.
Maybe. You'll never know.
You never know. Well, thank you very much. This has been awesome, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, great seeing you. You take care.
Bye. Okay, thanks so much for watching again, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye.